Hello everyone, it's time to do the recap of UFC Winnipeg, our random trip to Canada, and a not very good card from the standpoint of analyticalness or provenness or various other things. That being said, the action was pretty good. I've said this very many times, like the UFC, even when they're putting on not really UFC caliber cards, there will be fights that are entertaining, and in this case, Charles Jourdain versus Kyler Phillips was excellent. Jai Herbert versus Amanda Nalla was the best combination that those two can produce. So that was fun. And what else is good here? I guess Robert Valentine versus Julian LeBlanc was good, but in a very way that didn't feel like, didn't feel important, didn't feel UFC-like. Gokhan Saricam versus Tanner Boser was a good fight. I enjoyed that. And John Castaneda versus Mark Vogeldien, that was also pretty fine. I was fine with that. And John Yanis, Jamie Siraj, see the Valentine versus LeBlanc fight in the sense that, was it entertaining? Sure. It was violent for all of 2 minutes and 43 seconds. But realistically speaking, it wasn't a fight that really had any place on a UFC card. So let's just dive in here and get this all done. And hopefully you guys can enjoy this up on Spotify, Acast, and Anchor, and YouTube. Maybe not Acast. Acast and I are having a little tiff about my account. But hopefully that's fixed now. I think someone tried to hack me, but I don't know why. Mike Malott versus Gilbert Burns, and I think this was the fight that really is the problem with the card. If I'm going to be completely honest here, it's because the main event didn't really prove much. I don't come out of this thinking Mike Malott, who got a knockout here at 2 minutes and 8 seconds of the third round, is any particularly better. It was Gilbert Burns being uncomfortable striking, not as fast as he used to be, not as explosive as he used to be, and his wrestling coming from further and further out. Like the shots, it's not even like I can go like, hey man, I'm really impressed with Mike Malott's takedown defense, because I'm not. He stuffed a bunch of takedowns, but very few of them were within like proper range. Oh, for 7 Gilbert Burns, but I swear like none of them were even close enough to really get the job done. And it wasn't a particularly amazing like high work rate fight. The first round had 25 combined strikes landed between the two of them. The second round was better, 24-22 in favor of Burns. Better. And the third, of course, being the ending of it. But yeah, it doesn't add anything to Malott. And it is literally the end for Gilbert Burns, who retired after this fight. I mean, it's kind of the problem with any Gilbert Burns matchmaking, admittedly, is that realistically, you're going to put him up against somebody who's just not going to get anything but name value out of him. But I would have liked to see it with someone younger. Someone who I had questions about their ability to like game plan around a Gilbert Burns. That was the thing, is that for all of the limitations I see on Malott's game, something he has is game plans and like reasonable coachability. Like if you look at his UFC run, outside of that loss to Neil Magny, it's a lot of him having the exact right ideas for how to beat someone. And then whether it was impressive or not, i.e. not against Kevin Holland and to a certain extent Trevin Giles, but very impressive against a Charles Radke, is mostly that he actually identifies weaknesses of fighters and fights to it. And that was kind of the problem here. Is I'm like, he's going to be a sort of long-range kickboxer. He's going to stuff some takedowns. He's going to not grapple with Gilbert Burns. And he's going to pick up a win. So, yeah, it is what it is. Charles Jourdain versus Kyler Phillips. This was a fun fight. I was worried about this fight because, like, on one hand, I'm like, this fight could be really, really fun. And it was. But I was also like, Kyler Phillips could also just lay and pray Charles Jourdain. And thank God for the first round, which I had Phillips winning because he had 3 takedowns, 4 minutes top control, minimal damage by Jourdain, I should say. But, like, it was very clear that Jourdain was going to keep scrambling. And Phillips' cardio was going to eventually cost him this fight. And it did. Because by the second round, he didn't have the gas no more. Like, the takedowns were still there. He scored 4 more of them, 7 takedowns over the course of the fight, but he could not do anything with them. Like, there was like a very, very small amount of ground and pound, but Jourdain was scrambling and working submissions. Nothing particularly close, mind you, which I also thought would be the case because Phillips is even when tired, good defensive grappler. But again, not really anything learned. I mean, it's a big win for Jourdain, which is good because a concern with Jourdain was that this move to 135 would still have like the same ceiling that he had at 145. Problem is, while his ceiling is higher, I think it's like very much the same. Like Phillips lost this fight because while he had the right ideas and the right skill sets, he didn't have the cardio. Like, the takedowns became harder and harder to come by, and the control became harder and harder to come by. And he got tired. And that's really all there is to it. So, congratulations, Charles Jourdain. He gets a win in front of not his hometown crowd, which, side note here, the UFC likes to do this when they go to Canada, where they're like, Mike Malott here before his hometown crowd. I said it on Twitter. Mike Malott is my hometown guy. I don't live anywhere near Winnipeg. Like, that's the deal. Hang on. I want to get the distance here. To Winnipeg. Google Maps. You want to give me a quick old distance check here? I'd appreciate that. Let's see here. Yeah. There you go. Driving is not available. Doesn't even have a driving option. By the way, it's about a 2.5 hour flight. So what's the distance here? What's the distance? I'd like the distance, please. Give me the distance. Give me the distance. I want it. If anyone ever wanted to know, it would take 18 days to walk there. All right. It's not going to give me the actual distance, but we're talking transit over a day. We're talking car 21-hour drive. There you go. We have a driving estimate, and of course a flight. So, simply put, no. I don't know. The UFC seems to fail to realize that Canada is big. We're not big on people. We're, I think, one of the lesser populated countries in the world in terms of density. But we have a lot of land. And there's a lot of cultural break there. I use the comparison. It would be like saying Matt Serra was the hometown guy in Minnesota. Which also was, I think, the key problem here is that very, very few guys on this card were actually hometown guys. It was a lot of people who really aren't from Western Canada. I think the only one that is, and the only two that are, I think there are two on this card. And it's Melissa Crowden and Jamie Lynn Horth. And Horth is from British Columbia, which is not close to Winnipeg either. And Crowden is from... No, Crowden is from Ontario. Why do I think she's from Alberta? Does she train out of Alberta? She trains out of Alberta. She's born in Ontario, but trains out of Alberta. That's 2 provinces away. So, yeah. Malott was probably the closest, in terms of birth fighter to Winnipeg. That being said, the Winnipeg crowd did treat them as hometown heroes and so on. But I think there's always a bit of an oversell that I don't really get. Because people who live in Canada understand that that's not a hometown fighter. And people in America are not going to watch it because it's a hometown fighter. If you weren't watching this card, hearing Mike Malott is having a homecoming isn't going to make you watch. So... there we go. Rant over about geographics for the moment. There will be a minor political rant probably at the end of this. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Jourdain fought well, and he did his thing, but I don't come out of it with a better feeling. Mandel Nalo versus Jai Herbert just started really badly for Herbert. He got clipped on a counter strike while trying to throw a low kick, which is weird because he doesn't really throw kicks. And I didn't think he was specifically hurt by the first one, but Nalo had no hesitation to follow up. And he's just lacing him up again, tracking him down to the fence. This time he's properly hurt him. And then he gets dumb and open. And Herbert knocks him down. And then hammer fist. There was a leg lock attempt. Hammer fist. And then we're back on the feet. Nalo got back up. Gets dropped again. Gets pounded out. So... congratulations to Jai Herbert. You probably saved your job, but I said this, and people, I don't know, people were really excited for Mandel Nalo, and he's a fun enough fighter, don't get me wrong. But there was a lot of oh, he's actually a really good striker. I'm he is defensively terrible, dudes. His defense is I'm tall, which is not unique, but still kind of problematic when you were up against a guy who's as tall as you. I just think that his height is going to be less useful in keeping him safe in the UFC than he probably thinks. There's a reason his run in Bellator was, not great. He's 36 years old, so he's not really getting any better. Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Karine Silva. Bad fight. I had Jasudavicius winning rounds 2 and 3, so I agree with the decision, but It's not a fight that should move anyone's like forward, honestly. I think she won it, but she had a hard time implementing her game at any point on Silva. And if Silva was like actually concerned with keeping things standing and utilizing her striking game and her athleticism and her speed and her power, I think honestly she probably would have won this fight. But Karine Silva is a meme fighter. Gage Young versus Thiago Moises was Young looking better on the front foot than we've seen him look, I guess, and getting the job done by just outworking Moises, who threw 15 strikes in the first round, 38 strikes in the second round, and was gassed out. That's not great. Got Young knocked down in the third round. Young had a chance to maybe finish the fight, and the only reason I'm going to bring this up is because afterwards he was like, I was really looking for a knockout, and he did like a dance over top. He did the Daniel Garcia from AEW dance, basically. And it's like, don't do that? Don't do that. Don't do that. People were like, you're fine with Merab doing that. Yeah, but Merab doesn't say anything about trying to finish people. He's like, Merab knows what he is. Gage Young is like trying to like cast an idea that he is like some great prospect and killer, and he is not. One judge scored this for Moises. That's bullshit because yeah, Moises got worked here in the not like on a technical level, but he just got outworked in the second and the third round by such a margin it's impossible to give either of them to him. Marcio Barbosa knocked out Denis Bajuka in a minute 20. There were people complaining or saying that Bajuka came up with the wrong plan here by like giving Barbosa exactly what he wanted, but like that kind of ignores that is also Bajuka's game and why I picked Barbosa. I'm like, yes, Barbosa has serious issues at range. Yes, Barbosa has serious limitations when it comes to entering the pocket. But if you want to fight him in the pocket, and Bajuka will, he's going to let you up. And it's going to be up to you to knock him out. And that was not going to happen here. So Barbosa gets a knockout. That's cool. Robert Valentine marched down Julian LeBlanc, beat him by rear naked choke. I don't really have anything to say about Valentine's skills, if I'm being entirely honest. LeBlanc just seems like a bust. Maybe Valentine's actually figured some stuff out. He's done some different things in his training. Yeah, he's been more like America side and has kindly let us know that like Switzerland is this horrible, horrible place for freedom of speech, which is weird because I went and looked up like the recognized political parties of Switzerland, and there's some pretty anti-democrat, there's some pretty like anti the current government ones. It seems like it seems like people confuse freedom of speech for being taken seriously, and I think that's it. I think Valentine can express whatever political views he wants in Switzerland. It's just the Swiss people don't care. America's kind of that's the uniqueness of America, is you have a guy, you can go on a podcast, an MMA podcast, and have your political takes taken seriously. Anyways, that's never going to get old for me. Moving on down the card, we had Tanner Boser, Gokhan Saricam. This was a really good fight. This was a fun fight. Tanner Boser went out there and he showed up well. He did his thing. He threw some hard shots, stuffed some takedowns. Apparently, Saricam came in with an injury, which may have affected his wrestling. Probably true. We know MMA fighters fight injured, but like at the same time, maybe Boser had an injury. So like I'm not gonna take that excuse overly fondly. I also don't think Saricam is a great wrestler. Like the better aspect of Saricam's game is the boxing and the fact that he's pretty well rounded, so he can kind of attack weaknesses and blend things together. So second round comes around. Saricam is looking a little gassed. He's fading out a little bit. He's plenty active. He threw more strikes. He threw very similar number of strikes in the second round to the first round, and at a more efficient pace because, well, some of those came after, the follow-up to murdering Tanner Boser when he knocked him down and got the knockout. So good work by Saricam. A solid debut. Boser, keep him around. He's a fun enough fighter. Like, again, by heavyweight standards, both of these guys are pretty good. I didn't really understand why they let Boser go in the first place, because you have some really bad heavyweights on the roster here. Really bad. Middleweight and heavyweight, I think, are the two male divisions that have the most just like, why are you here head counts. And of course, the women's division suffer from that as well, but at the same time, the global pool is a bit limited. Speaking of the women's division, Melissa Croden versus Daria Zhelezhnikova. Robert Valentine's mother passed away during his last fight camp, or during his last fight. I can't remember. I don't remember exactly which. So heart goes out to him on that one. Very emotional post-fight speech. I appreciate that. For all the, you're a bit of a dummy I give Robert Valentine, and I'll stand by that, my heart does go out for him on that matter. That's a tough cross to bear. Melissa Croden versus Daria Zhelezhnikova. Originally, Zhelezhnikova's doing pretty well in this fight. She's actually using a very solid game plan, actually using footwork, actually using a little bit of volume. Not a lot of volume, but a lot of clean strikes landing, outlanding Croden 22-15 in the first round. Picked up the first round on my card. And then round 2 comes around and Croden just, not for the entire round, but for various points of the round, just kind of sprints through and gets to the clinch and actually starts working her game. And Zhelezhnikova is not actually all that good at avoiding it. It's like the success of the first round had more to do with like a basic idea from Zhelezhnikova and Croden being not actually good at closing people down, which kind of made me realize when I'm looking at Croden's record, I'm like, there is very, very, very few people who Croden has ever fought that had any way of actually nullifying her clinch game, except for Jacqueline Cavalcanti, who beat her, and Luana Santos, who would just overpower her in the clinch. So something to look forward to in the future. I mean, if someone can actually do what Zhelezhnikova was trying to do and do it better, they'll probably beat Croden, but Croden is a hoss. She's got the power. Here's the political stuff. She said a couple of things that, if you are politically involved in Canada, you recognize as sort of right-wing slogans. The government is failing us sort of thing. And we have to take care of each other, blah, blah, blah. And people are like, people always try to make excuses for fighters, political stuff is well, no, there's nothing wrong with that sentiment. She's right, isn't she? Yeah, it kind of ignores that Croden is, and this is why I was surprised to note that she was born in Ontario. She moved out to Alberta. She's big into the Alberta separatist shit, and yeah, she's a political figure. Why fighters on the right wing are a political figure, I don't know. But if you don't believe that they are, realize that Pierre Polivet was here to grandstand in front of a UFC audience and even had a thing with Mike Malott after the main event. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't be the case. Again, I've kind of said this a number of times with Sean Strickland. I wouldn't change the fighters. Nothing about them. Let them be dumb. Let them be incendiary and whatever. Just don't treat them with any seriousness. They get hit in the head for a living. Don't take your politics from them. And before anyone says that you just don't like their politics, I say this about the people I do agree with the politics of. It just shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And this goes for musicians, actors, other sports athletes. It's so weird how sports and entertainment can become absolute poster child for politics. Jamie Lynn Horvath versus JJ Aldridge did suck, and the judges did screw it up. And somebody asked me if the fight being bad lessens the blow of them screwing it up. The answer is probably a little bit. I'll give me 2 months. I'm gonna forget this fight even happened. Honestly, we're gonna get to a booking of Horth or Aldridge and be like, oh, they fought each other. How was that fight? Oh, it was bad. I'm not gonna go back and rewatch it for any other reason. But it was a terrible scorecard, and I still can't get it. Danny Segura, I guess, do we consider him a journalist? I don't know. He was basically doing the whole one man on this mountain thing, and I just don't get it. Round 1, 23-9 strikes in favor of Horth, 22-16 in favor of Horth in the second round, and 28-27 in favor of Horth on the third round. Now, the third round, I'm fine with you giving Aldridge. The work was about the same, and the damage was about the same. Whatever. But as much as it's not a case of you landed more strikes, you won the round, it is when Aldridge is not hurting you. And she's striking from too far away, and her takedowns are completely ineffective and not well set up. So there's no reason to give Aldridge this fight, but it doesn't matter. I picked up the money on it, I guess. John Castaneda would have beaten Mark Vogeldean if not for 2 low kicks that got him a point taken away, because I thought that the first round was a toss-up. I thought Castaneda won the second and the third round. Vogeldine has a serious limitation that's not going to go away. He's 5'3" and has a style of game that does not thrive being the shorter man. And the best aspects of his game are durability and cardio. A lot of people were like, he should go down to 125. I don't think it solves anything. He's still going to be slow. Or pardon me, he's still going to be small. He's going to be slow as well. Frankly, he's going to be slower. Like his speed is going to be less of a advantage. And his cardio and his durability can only get worse. Like it's possible that going down to 125 will have no impact on it, but it will not have a positive impact on it. So I want to be wrong because dude is really fun, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere. Like if he wins a fight in the UFC against somebody like proper, like somebody not like first off the Contender Series or something, I will be surprised. It's just kind of built wrong. Like a guy with his frame almost has to be like a power wrestler, and he's not. He's strong. Might be able to learn how to like weaponize wrestling, but got a draw here, and this will sadly I think probably be the highlight of his career. Jamie Siraj got crushed by John Yanis, and I don't really have anything else to say about that. It was the problem I said is that Siraj is a fun grappler. He has nice heel hook setups. He will be very vicious against guys who like want to grapple with him, but his striking is quite bad. It's defensively porous and his takedowns are not great. And John Yanis, who is not a great fighter, or John Yanis, is not a great fighter. He's not fantastic. But what he is a hard hitter and like a decent boxer. And he absolutely clubbed the life out of Jamie Siraj. Canadian fighters had a bad night on the card. Well, the women actually had a decent night. Jasmine Jasudavicius and Milza Croden picking up wins, and Jamie Lynn should have. But the guys got beaten down. This has led to a lot of, or except for Jourdain and Malott, a lot of this has led to the idea of like Canada's not producing good fighters. To be honest, this is just bad like scouting. Siraj, Nalo, LeBlanc, these are not the best we have to offer. I'm not entirely certain that the best we have to offer are honestly UFC caliber or going to be blowing anything up, but these guys are not it. Like I would be surprised if anyone I listed was still on the roster in 2 years. I wouldn't be shocked if they were because, well, it's come out that Cedricus Dumas has got another contract. They've re-signed that dumbass twice, despite the fact that he has house arrest issues and is terrible. So I'm not gonna be confused if they keep anyone around. But they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. And they're not young. They're not young enough. Like I think that's the key problem. Like Siraj is 31 years old. Look it up here. How old? LeBlanc is 34. Nalo, like I said, is 36. Like they're not young enough. In fact, I don't think a single Canadian on this card was under the age of 30. Yeah, Horth's 36, Croden's 35, Boser's 34, Jourdain is 30. Okay, Jourdain's a little bit younger than I thought he was, and then like 34-year-old Mike Malott. Like it's not setting us up for the future. We have people that are better than this, I swear. I don't know how good they are, but they are better than this. Anyways, that was the fight card. We have another UFC fight night coming up, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken here. Let's see here. Yeah, Sterling versus Zalal. This is not a good fight card. Is there at least something I think is going to be a banger on here? Adrian Luna Martinelli, who beat Mark Vogeldine on Contender Series versus Davey Grant, should be pretty good. Grant is a bit too old to just kind of like capitalize on the fact that Martinelli is pretty much going to lead with his chin. But at the same time, Martinelli doesn't have the physical power to put him out of there. So like that should be a scrap. Alexander Hernandez, Rafa Garcia could be good. Not really loving anything else on here. Talita Alencar versus Julia Plastri will be fine. Max Griffin versus Victor Valenzuela will be fine. Francis Marshall, Lucas Brennan will be fine. Jafel Fio, Cody Durden. There's a fun version of that fight. There's also a terrible version of that fight. That's about it. I'm really not. It's not even the unimportance of these matchups. I don't actually think that they're good fights on paper in terms of like action. Anyways, in the description for this podcast, you will find a link tree that has links to my social medias, my Discord server, where you can find the MMA Fight Simulator, and also my video gaming stuff over on YouTube and Twitch. Have a look, see if you like it, come back for more. And give me a follow, give me a subscription when you can. I'll see you next time. I promise I'll try and get hyped about something.